the work session of May 3rd, 2021. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
which stands one nation
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Will Secretary Treasurer Horowitz please read the roll, call the roll?
President Eric Schultz.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Scott Horowitz, I'm clearly here. Trustee Ed J. Warner Jr.
Present.
Trustee William Pell IV.
Present.
Trustee Ann Welker.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Okay, first item on the agenda is for me. It's a Baymore Club condominiums of 274 Dune Road. It was is being represented by JMO Environmental. I don't think, are they on there? Is Glenn Just on? Charles?
Say it again.
Is Glenn Just
1 second. I need to.
JMO Consulting on?
1 second.
Okay.
I need to. It's kind of hard to get to them. Say Glenn. Is that InterScience?
No,
No.
JMO Consulting.
No, I have no.
Okay. All right.
And who's the other person?
Well, last time we were talking.
Is Glenn and who else?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Glenn Just of JMO Consulting.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There was some questions I had on this application, as you remember last time, and I talked to, and when Glenn was on, I requested a field a site visit. We've been playing telephone tag for the last 2 weeks, so it hasn't happened yet. So we're going to have to adjourn this to the next work session.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold.
Next one is Joel and Jody Berger, Tanner's Neck Lane, West Hampton, Land Planning Services.
I just want to advise the board, there is a old flag for a stop work order on this property. It looks like it has been remedied. They just have to call building department to square up with them.
Okay. All right. Is the representing the project?
Land planning.
1 second.
Lori Wiltshire.
Lori. Yes.
Okay.
Lori Whitshire.
Yes.
She's coming.
All right, there we are.
Okay.
Hello.
Good.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi,
Morning.
good morning.
All right. Well, let's bring the plans up. Okay, so this is for a fixed pier at the end of Tanner's Neck Lane. Primarily, if you can zoom in on the depth measurements, James.
Got 2.5 right around here.
Okay. Here at the end of Tanner's Neck Lane. Okay. You press scroll up a little bit, James, on the elevation, side elevations and everything. Okay. Who is the survey done by, the bathymetric survey done by?
Good question. I think it was done by Squires and Holden, but let me double check. You're talking about the soundings, correct?
Soundings,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, okay. This is David Fox.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, there's, the only question I had is where is the intercoastal in relation to this? Is this right at the edge of that where it sweeps in? Ed, are you familiar with that? Do you have a? Okay, no, it isn't. Okay. I didn't get a chance to go out there with the waders, but Ed, don't you think that's a little, that's shallower in that area? Ed, you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I used to launch my boat there. I never remembered that much water being that close to shore, Eric.
I know. I didn't get a chance. The day I went out there, I was too high, so I didn't get a chance to. I mean, that's. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just west of Tennis, because that's the old beach club that used to be there,
Right.
the bar that used to be there. And just
Right.
west of that, there's a big giant point that's literally at low tide, only a few inches deep. So
I know. That's the strange part about it.
I mean, I'm suspect that this depth measurement, what I would like to see done is to have a pole or a marker put out there so that we can go down there at low tide and actually do a site visit. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that would be prudent
yeah.
of us.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why I was bringing up the question.
Okay.
We're gonna have to field verify it. So if someone could go out there and just put a stake in the ground of where the outside of the pier is going to be, so we can,
Not the float, the pier. The pier.
the float, the
The
pier
outer
of
terminus of the project.
the whole
Yeah,
project.
got it. Okay. Now, this survey by David Fox does say that this was done at mean low water,
Mhm.
MLLW. And it does show a depth of 2.69 feet at the terminus of the pier
Right.
and about 3 feet at the terminus of the float.
Yeah, I know. I just with historical knowledge of that bay, I'm not familiar with a depth that deep at that particular area there. So I think we're going to have to use an old Ronald Reagan phrase, right? Trust, but verify.
Yeah, yes. I think it would be I mean, I have asked for consultants to put stakes out where the
Mhm.
project was going to be, or a marker, so you can go down there with wader boots and actually do a survey, because my recollection, it's pretty shallow there.
Yeah, I was going to do, like I said, I was going to do that, but every time I got a chance to do it, it was high tide or the wind was whipping up. So, okay, so we'll put this on for the next work session.
So who actually needs to put this stake in the field? Is the surveyor? The dock designer?
No, buddy, just measure it out. That's all from the dock. I mean, we can measure it ourselves too. I just need to know. We need to know what the location is where as it is on the plans.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll have to.
Probably be best if the surveyor does that.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. Put on next work session.
great. Thank
Oh,
you.
for that. Okay.
Oh, I don't think you'll have it by the next work session. The surveyors are very backed up.
Okay. Okay. Well,
We'll do our best.
Just let us know when it's down there, and then we'll go down as soon as possible so it doesn't get washed away or something.
You got it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
152.
Yeah, I exited out by accident.
All right. No
Yeah.
problem. No problem.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Hey, Charles, Billy Mack's trying to get on. He just text me.
Okay. I don't see him.
Okay. You might have the wrong link.
right, you're all set here.
There it is.
Okay. Anybody here representing that type, what a dock builder is, a contractor?
Shore Solutions.
Or
Billy-
solution?
Billy's coming on now.
That's Donna Myers is the consultant. Do you have Donna Myers in there?
Yep.
Mhm.
Hey, Donna, you can just put your video on. Donna, you can put your video on. There you go. And unmute.
Ugh.
There you go. You good?
Okay, got it? All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not super techie.
No problem.
Okay, neither am I.
Okay, so this initially started off to be a bulkhead application. And then they added steps to the pier for access to the water.
Okay.
Which I figured the trustees preferred for pass and repass.
Mhm.
There's an existing platform, like a short pier and a ramp and 2 floats and a boat lift. I did a foil with the trustees and they have permits for the boat lift, the 6 by 24 foot float. And when I was looking through the foil, in 93, it was a straight out float 6 by 24. And then when they applied for the boat lift in 97, a 6 by 16 float, like an L, was on the plans. It's not called out in words on the permit, but there are permits for it. It's permit number 7306.
Yeah, I think I have the old ones here.
It also says boat slip. There was a
Yeah,
typo.
it says boat lift.
Right, but on the actual trustees permit, if you go down a little, the sign.
What are you saying? That it wasn't on here?
No, the float is on that permit. It's
Right.
not called out in wording.
Well, no, you got an original permit for the float, I believe.
Right.
And then they added the boat lift, which is
Mhm.
that other permit with the boat lift.
Right.
So here's the floating dock in an L configuration existing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yep.
And then the next permit that I just had up shows that they added the boat lift to it.
Right. So that's not really part of the project. It's just
Right.
there.
Right.
Yeah, so that I just wanted to confirm that you do have permits to that. That's the reasoning for the old
Yes.
permit.
Sure.
So that when when we brought up the plans and they see a boat lift, do you have permits for it? Which you do. So
Yes.
Okay.
she's
So
all
we're
yeah,
adding the
fine.
steps. Sorry.
Right. Right. And reconstructing the bulkhead.
And doing the bulkhead, yes.
Right.
At the same elevation.
Well, don't the other side adjoining property a little higher, aren't they?
Not really.
They're like 4 inches higher, like you can see in this one. It's a
Because you have
little
a
higher.
deck over the top
Higher
of
over
it.
here.
Right, the
Yeah.
deck makes up for it.
Gotcha.
They didn't want to have a step onto the pier.
Okay. All right. If you want to keep it at the same height, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with it. It's replacing an old deteriorating original creosote, and then CCA
Mhm.
reface on top of that, and it's going to take all that lumber out of the water and put PVC in and clean things up.
What's going to go, oops, sorry, Eric.
Between 2 properties that are bulkheaded already with existing permits.
What's going to go behind it?
They
Sand
have
And
sand.
How about some plantings?
Yes, they're gonna replant. There's already some existing plants over to the east side.
Yeah, you have a little baccharis and a little other things growing in there. So it would be best if you put some Cape American beach grass in there.
Yeah, that would work well.
The whole length of or the majority of the bulkhead.
Well, they use a lot of kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. So they need access for the area.
Right. Okay. I can't scroll up. Can you, James,
Yeah.
can you scroll up a little bit?
What was the linear footage of the bulkhead again?
114.
Yes, if you gave them like 20 feet of access, with an area like a stone pad or sand for the kayaks and paddleboards to be launched, the rest of it could be Cape American beach grass, which would be a wonderful, buffer, and also reduce the amount of scouring that would be caused from a storm.
Right.
That would be great.
Okay.
Do you have a ladder on it too?
We have the steps.
You might want to put a ladder too, just in case. Just,
Where on the other side?
I would put it, yeah, along the bulkhead somewhere, just in case the ladder gets washed away.
All right.
Steps,
Go
I mean.
The steps gets washed away, yeah.
You're gonna do it, what, 20 foot by what, 4 foot sand, and then the rest gonna be planted beach grass? Is that what the?
Or native vegetation.
No, 20 by, if it's going to be a 10-foot
20
buffer,
by 10?
20 by 10.
20 by 10 sand, and then the rest beach grass or native vegetation.
Right.
So can we add that? Can you add that, Donna, to the cover sheet and plans,
Yes.
and also add the ladder as well?
Okay.
So a 20
Alright,
by 10 foot sand,
40 by 10 sand and the
20
rest.
20 by 10, 20 by 10,
Oh, I thought you said 40. Okay.
20 by 10,
Okay.
and then the rest native vegetation, beach grass or whatever you native.
Okay.
Non-fertilized, non-irrigated.
So they could have a choice. They could do the beach grass or some beach roses or something.
Right.
Sure.
And ladder.
And the ladder.
Do you guys want to hold this, or is this, once
No,
we
I
get that stuff, we could put it right on?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, if she gets the wording in for the cover sheet, we should be able to put it on the next agenda.
Okay. So we'll
Bring it
advance it pending those plans and cover sheet.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, so Scott's next with the Shinbone Bay.
Got Shinbone Bay. It's a Jim Walker is Jim Walker from InterScience on the meeting.
He's coming.
Great.
Start your video, InterScience.
We got 2 linear feet of bulkheading, 20 linear feet return at the south property line, in place and in kind replacement of 4 by 55 low profile fixed pier catwalk, proposed in place and in kind replacement of existing woodwalk landward of existing bulkhead. All decking through flow or equivalent, and all construction to be completed using untreated materials. Can you hear me? There he is. Good morning.
Hi.
You ready?
Go ahead. You got the floor, sir.
Last time I was in front of the board asked for a photograph of the return. on the south side, so I submitted that, but it's a conventional return. And I went there with the architects, and I went there with Seth Allen and Steve Maresca. We're drawing up engineered plans for the project. But what you have is a seawall, and you have intertidal marsh in front of it, and you have high marsh behind it. These are regulated wetlands at the state. And the last time that we had this type of project in front of the Board of Trustees was in Burnett's Creek. And what we did at Burnett's Creek, we had an engineered plan drawn up, and the new sheathing went directly in front of the old sheathing so that there was no disruption to the high marsh in the back, and there's no disruption to the intertidal marsh seaward. And to do that, we show helical piles that are screwed into the grade instead of requiring any disruption to the high marsh or the low marsh. So all that work can be done without disrupting the Spartina patents that's behind the bulkhead and the Spartina alterniflora that's in front of the bulkhead. And Seth Allen said that it's a conventional thing that they've been doing, and he did it on his own house, and Steve Maresca has drawn up plans in that regard. So eventually we will have engineered plans for the town, the state, and the Army Corps. But this was done for Joan Kamens in Burnett's Creek, and the project came out great. We're not going to plant anything behind this because we already have high marsh vegetation behind it, but all the work would be done with helical piles and installing the sheet piling right in front of the old bulkheading. And I would recommend that you keep the old bulkheading in place to maintain the grades behind the old bulkhead and to make sure that the wetlands aren't disrupted any more than they need to be. I think that's all I really have to say regarding the project. The rest of the stuff is that there's a boat slip there and a little jetty style boardwalk over top of it. There's facing piles on the northern part of the bulkhead, but the facing piles don't really change the project much. We would install facing piles in that particular area, but we would still use helical piles to screw it into grade so that the high marsh behind the bulkhead doesn't have to be disrupted.
Jim, I have one quick question. You're not going to change any of the elevations on the bulkheads, are you?
No, I don't see any reason to change any.
I don't, because everything looks like it's working very well there. So I think it should be kept the same.
We have high marsh behind the bulkhead that is regulated by the state and that we have to keep without disruption. My thought process is the correct way to do this is to leave that old sheathing in place, install the new sheathing, and use helical piles to tie back into the grade without any drag piles, no lay logs, no backing piles, no tie rods.
But I thought we were pretty much in agreement that the helical piles were the way to go with this project at the last session, right?
I think the Board of Trustees have seen helical piles used often enough that they probably can be comfortable that this is the correct way to go. I did meet with Seth Allen out there on March 31st, which was the last day they were dredging meacocks. And Steve Maresca has drawn these plans, and he is drawing up engineered plans for the project. I told him that we will continue to push the permit applications in front of the Army Corps and the New York State DEC and the town, but that we don't draw these plans. They need to be engineered so that the town will be certain that everything gets done correctly. So that part is ongoing, and it probably will take a little while for us to get engineered plans back, but that's what the engineer recommended. That's what Seth Allen recommended, And I believe it's the correct way to do the job without disrupting the high marsh.
So we'll put it on hold till we receive your plans?
That's fine. We're proceeding as quickly as we can, Scott, and we'll be back to the town as soon as Steve Maresta.
All right. Thank
Time
you
to
for,
do the engineered plans.
thank you for your diligent work on this application.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Take care, Jim.
Okay, the next one is for the Shinnecock Shores Association. It's their groin wall that's east of Tarpon Road. It's in the East Quag. The canals that run on each one of the roads there. They are taking a beating and in need of repair. And put that up. 30-foot long, all timbers to be non-treated, green heart vinyl sheeting and fiberglass graded capping. This is an application. It's going to be a project done by Shoreline Bulkheading. We have all their paperwork. And that whole area, that whole part of the bay has been taking a pretty substantial pounding for quite a while. All the bulkheadings, the brush jetties, everything's getting beat up. Capping's getting torn off on a regular basis. And, you know, the plan is completely compliant with our Blue Book regulations and I think needs to move forward.
Okay.
So that one can advance.
Sounds good.
Then we have Trustee Warner is up.
Just a heads up on this property, again, there's an old flag in the system from building department from Superstorm Sandy. The owner should follow up with building department to get that flag removed.
Do you know what the flag is for specifically?
It was for damage to the structure, so unrelated to
Okay.
what we're here for today. It's just
Okay, yep.
clearly an old flag in the system.
Okay. Basically, they're asking,
I think that was the old one. Sorry. Sorry, I just wanted to get the newer one up. Where that is, though. All right, there you go.
okay, maintenance dredge, the south side of the T-dock, which is Mariners Cove or the old Salavars Marina back in the day. There was a very large timber dock there. It had been dredged all around it back in the 50s and 60s. They're looking to dredge some of the south side of it to allow boats to get access to the floating docks, which are a commercial entity there. Basically, the material is going to be put on two properties that have been designated by the DEC as approved deposition sites. They're going to be dredging, quite a bit of material. I believe, let me see, 600 cubic yards of material, which, it would allow for the marina to function more usable there. Over time, it has filled in from, a lot of beach sand that has eroded off the properties to the south. I think it's a good project. It will ensure that the marina can be a functional marina in that area again and allow for transition and safe navigation for boats. Does anybody have any questions about it?
No. Looks good.
Like to move it forward, James?
That's it.
All right.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Are they on here? DKR Shores?
Is Gina ringed in on here? I think she is.
Who's coming?
I think the question on this is the road going between the property.
Yeah, she submitted the deed for review. I can pull that up if you'd like.
Yeah.
I missed something earlier on discussion, because I got on a minute late. Was that cowfish?
It was before the
Was that-
meeting.
It was before the meeting.
I know, but you guys mentioned my name, so.
It doesn't count as before the meeting.
Okay. Well, someone could call me and let me know what's
Yeah,
going on.
There's no
What
discussion
do I have to do?
on a work session. You can bring it up on the regular meeting if you'd like.
I don't know what it was about.
Okay.
I heard cowfish,
Well, let's
No.
get
and
on
then
with it.
that was it.
No,
Nothing to do with
no,
that.
it was
Yeah.
nothing to do with cowfish. It was two crescent on the.
Okay, I would
side.
like to talk to you about that, if we could put that on discussion. Thank
We're
you.
gonna discuss that in a executive session first, and then have a discussion with you later on. Okay?
Yes, good.
Okay, Prochner, yes. You can see this is the subdivision map that I sent to the town attorney, Sean. I also sent you the deed. So basically you can see that parcel that has the house on it, that is on the Cold Spring side, is technically separate, although included as an easement on the deed for the house. But it is a separate parcel. It's an easement that they own, basically, not just the side on the canal side, but the road. They actually own part of the road as a right of way. So, and this happens a lot. You know, we have parcels on the bay, on Dune Road. And they have a right of way going to the ocean. They're still separate parcels. So, and confirm with me if I'm, correct or not correct. Blue Book says one dock per residential property. Am I not correct? So technically these would be two separate lots. But Sean, it does to make the call because it's a very gray area. It is not part, where we're proposing the dock is not part of the residential lot. And that has been proven with the documentation I provided. Now the owner is super very nice about this. And he's like, from the very beginning, I said, are you sure you don't want a 6x20 float? That's what you're allowed technically. And he said, no, totally respectful. I want the very minimum just to get on the boat safely. So he said, just a 4x16. I don't want anything bigger than that. I want to be very respectful to my neighbors, even though there's no docks across the way from the canal side. He still wants to be, very respectful that there are other people that have docks on there. And, it's a traveled waterway and other docks are on this man-made dock canal. So he said, let me know what I have to do. I don't want to get rid of the dock on the Cold Spring side. I do use it, but, during oyster season, it's very hard to get through there. Because of all the, the netting and the clamming and the oystering, and it's a very substantial and active area for shellfishing. So it's really going to come down to logistics. And, he even said, and he may still be on right now, I'm not sure, had to jump off. I just want to be able to get on the boat safely. Whether it be a ladder to get down or something. And I said, well, that's not a good idea. Imagine getting down on a ladder to jump on a boat because, the trustees denied him a dock. That's not a good idea. So basically, we're looking at some way to get onto the dock safely. Onto the boat from the bulkhead safely. And whether or not you want me to modify it, to make it, I'm not sure how much shorter I can make it. I'm not sure how much smaller I can make it. None of the other agencies, by the way, had a problem.
Excuse me, Regina,
Yeah, go
can you
ahead.
excuse me for a second? Hey, James, can you show me the property to the east? I mean, to the west of this property?
That's Eric Storch's property. And
To the
he
west,
has a dock.
right there. Yeah, he has
It's-
that one. I think he has a dock on both sides.
He does, yes.
Right.
He
So-
had, yeah,
So that's
So, I mean, it's typical for the neighborhood.
Regina, can I talk for a second?
Sure.
So I don't see any problem letting this guy have a dock, because how it's set up, it's like a separate piece of property.
Right.
And so I have no problem with it. I think the problem we had before is, the road going through there. And and we gave the neighbor two docks. So I think this guy should be able to keep his dock and put the new one on the other side.
Right. Well, the Blue Book reads one dock per lot. Doesn't say residential, one dock per lot. We
Yeah.
do have history of that down in, if some of the trustees can recall, down in Pinesfield, down in East Quogue, there was some access strips that were part of the subdivision, and we allowed docks on those. The only time that we get involved with prohibiting those on the smaller lots is when the actual people divide it up amongst themselves. It has to be recognized as a regular subdivision lot. And it looks like you have that on your original subdivision. So it's a separate piece of property. So the trustee Blue Book regulations would apply as far as one dock per lot. So that's a separate lot.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
also
so it's
safe harbor
consistent.
during the storm.
It's consistent with our policy.
Right.
The only problem we had was with reciprocal easements back and forth. That's why we started at one dock per lot.
Totally understand. And no one else owns, that part, that easement, so I could see, double check that. So, it is consistent with Blue Book as far as Blue Book is written, yes.
Mhm.
So I have no problem. If the board wants to, we can move this forward.
Fine with it.
I'm okay with it, Billy.
Thanks, Ed and Eric.
Should advance.
Me too.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
then,
you.
Hey, Regina, you also should
Yeah.
put a ladder there on that side,
Okay,
just in case someone falls in the water. Or if someone goes clamming, got to get out of the water over there.
so like a ladder off the float,
I would say off the dock itself, off the bulkhead.
off
Yes.
of the bulkhead, okay.
Yeah, because that float has to be taken out in the winter.
Yeah, you're right, it is a seasonal, yeah, okay.
can you add that to the plans and the cover sheet, please, and send them to me? Thanks.
Yeah, I think actually I'll put it off the platform won't come out because it's cantilevered. So I think I'll put it off the back side of the platform in case the actual ramp and float are stored seasonally, then at least they could get in and out of the water off of the platform itself, the 4x6 platform. So instead of the bulkhead. Yeah, good idea, Billy. I'll add it.
All right, thanks.
No problem. Thanks for suggesting it. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Me too.
Bye.
Next is Louis Galasso, 128 Redwood Road in Sag Harbor. Burke and Sullivan, Mr. Timothy McCully Esquire. Charles is hopefully on the meeting. You could let him in.
Yes. You have to start your video. Oh, there you go.
I'm here.
All right.
Hi, Mr. McCully.
Hi.
Would
Hi,
you like
Tim.
to would you like to describe the situation with this project, please?
Sure. This goes way back to 2007. John Simlier and the board granted a dock. But the dock,
Didn't I
when
go to you this morning? I took a picture of it and forwarded it to you.
And
All right, 1 second.
So put your video on.
Should be on.
It's not.
Okay, hang on a second.
There you go.
There you
Now
go.
it is. Yeah.
So anyway, what happened was when Bruce Stafford went to renew it, he realized the dock was within 10 feet of the property owner. So we had to change everything. This has been going on for years. Every time we get this thing approved, somebody else's permit expires. Right now, we're in a situation where everything has been approved. We have the DEC, Army Corps, the state. We're in the Harbor Committee. Now they're making us go back and do a whole new application. We made that application and that's pending. They came back with a whole bunch of a laundry list of stuff they wanted us to address, which we're in the process of doing. I had dropped out of this for a while and now it's been come back to my desk. So that's where we are.
Hey, Tim, is this the one where it's kind of like a triangular piece of property and had a good slope to it?
Yes, it's got a big bluff to it.
Yeah.
And we wound up back and forth between you guys and the usual argument about how high it's going to be, et cetera, et cetera. You agreed to the way it's being presented now. It's been approved like, I think 3 times.
Mhm.
But every time it runs out because we're working with some other agency. So
Yeah.
we keep getting, losing the permit here, then we lose it there. But right now, it's your permit is expired and we're in the process of getting a new application before the Harbor Committee. And
Nothing's changed on the project from when you guys approved it in 2020 or 2019. So it's a renewal, but not a renewal, essentially. So
it's a renewal, but it's old. So I guess
Right.
it has to be treated as a new
Right.
application.
Right.
So yeah, it meets everything. It went through quite a bit of back and forth on where it's gonna go, and
Yeah,
you guys worked it out.
too, right? Wasn't it stair location too on that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Right. All right.
As long as nothing's changed and all of you are okay with it, I'd like to recommend its approval and advancement.
Okay, no problem. It's been reviewed to death, so to speak.
Good luck, Mr. McCully, as you move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Great day.
Good
Okay.
luck.
Okay, bye.
Next one is Blue Turtle Inc., 281 Daniels Lane, Village of Sagaponack. This is InterScience, Charles.
Yeah.
Lisa, I think, is here herself.
All right.
This is an application for 1 row of sand fencing in a zigzag configuration along the toe of the dune. 730 feet of linear feet along the beach. Lisa, do you want to talk about this?
Hi, good morning. Lisa Poyer with InterScience on behalf of Blue Turtles, the applicant. They are proposing to do an additional row of sand fencing along the toe of the beach. About 10, 11 years ago, they received approvals to install 1 row of sand fencing in a more landward location, and then they came back a year later and installed an additional row of sand fencing in that similar location. And the dune in this area has actually built up very well. And you can see in the photographs right now how those 2 rows of sand fencing have become buried. In order to keep moving forward with helping to build up the beach and provide stability there, they are looking to install a new row of sand fencing along the new toe of the dune.
Okay.
These
Hi, Lisa.
pictures,
Hi.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Would it be better to put the start the next row right where the V is, closer back, to actually make it higher instead of wider? Because if you keep on going out, you're going to be in the truck's path and the people are going back and forth on the beach.
The proposed new row of sand fencing is beyond the driving area.
Yeah, but I think it should be back closer to the back of the dune.
So as you can see from these pictures, the ones on the screen were taken January 14th. James, would you please share the pictures that I sent? We asked Lisa to go out and stake the toe of the dune where they proposed to add the additional row of fencing. And James, if you don't mind sharing that, I think you'll be able to see better. The pictures aren't great, but
you sent them today?
Yes.
Okay, you just got to give me 5 minutes so I can save them and be able to pull them up.
Oh, sorry. I thought I gave you a
So
heads up on that.
I'm gonna stop.
Let him do that in the meantime. But what Ann can describe what are you showing on those new photos?
So as Lisa said.
So I'm gonna stop. Sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing because I have to.
Okay,
that,
that's fine.
Go ahead.
While James is looking for what he's looking for, this lot is flagged for New York State Department of Agriculture rules for golden nematode pest regulations. So you want to call them and clear that with them. They have their phone number listed on the flag, and it's 631-288-1751.
You're finished, Sean?
Yep, it's probably not related to this project, but you want to be sure and clear it with them so you don't get a violation from New York State Department of Ag and Markets.
Okay. As Lisa pointed out, when we were looking at the screen, the beach grass has, and the dune has filled in, and the beach grass has grown substantially seaward of the crest of the dune. So Lisa, or the project proposal, is to install new beach fencing right at the toe of the dune. The Blue Book regulations are that it be within 10 feet or not more than 10 feet of the toe of the dune. However, you'll see from the photos, I'm just wondering if perhaps that this new sand fencing might be a bit ambitious and might be a bit too far seaward as well. So when James pulls it up, you'll be able to see it. It has worked very well to establish the dune. If you look at just on the left side of the screen, there's a white stake. So that's staked all the way down the 700 feet of proposed snow fence. The snow fence, there's no snow fence on the property to the east, which is the other side of Peters Pond Lane, and the snow fence on the properties to the west are all up on the crest of the dune. So this snow fence, while not impeding traffic, would be encroaching onto pedestrian and perhaps vehicular right of way. But as Lisa said, the dune has grown in a very healthy manner here.
Right. My concern would be that if there really hasn't been too much studies on this, but if you keep on elongating the dune, enlarging it out, is it going to act the same as a bulkhead would do on the adjoining property to the west? If this one's out too far, is it going to, if the wind's blowing along, is it going to
scour?
Yeah. Like what Bill was saying, it might be better to bring it up and start raising the dune up, getting it a little higher.
Okay, we can go back and take a look at putting it in a new location, or maybe putting it somewhere in between even.
The other question is, being that it's within clover season, what's your proposal for work, or what are the restrictions on work during this season?
So our restrictions say that they just need a plover inspection done before the commencement of work. If there's birds in the area, obviously we're gonna have them hold off if there's nests or, actively mating birds as well. So
Okay.
they would just have to schedule that with us.
And we would obviously let the trustees know, and it would be all work done by hand. All the staging would be conducted from the upland section on the property. And we have no issues with, plover monitor there. And it would take probably a little less than 2 days.
Okay.
It's,
Great.
What's the seaward length from the toe of the dune to the high tide mark?
It's significant.
the beach width.
The beach is pretty wide there. Lisa, do you know exactly?
See if it has it on the survey or not.
One of those photographs does show it, as far as the view.
Hey, Scott.
My plan's not coming up for some reason.
Yeah, I drove that beach a couple weeks ago. It's pretty wide. It's a nice beach.
It's very wide there.
And all the houses who did the snow fence are doing the right thing, but they should go higher now. It's wide.
It's probably over 150 feet.
Yeah, I was there at low tide and the beach width is significant. There are no bulkheads along that stretch of beach at all. And the dune system is really healthy.
So at what point is enough enough? So you got 150 feet of beach out front and you got a healthy dune system. At what point are you good? Because you keep marching seaward, it'll just keep building up, and then you keep marching seaward. You know what I mean?
So to the point of increasing the height of the dune rather than the width. So revisiting this and perhaps considering that as well.
So let me go back and we'll approach the owner about it, and we'll do some consultation, and we'll resubmit some new plans.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So that looks like all the items on the agenda. The next thing would be executive session for confidential legal advice.
Hey, real quick, Kimberly Barber is on, or she was on, asking about the Tiana Bayside CPF project. Do you want her on the general meeting or on the work session?
I had asked her to come on the work session. I had asked her to call up Lisa and have her put on here just to go over, touch on, what we're doing over there. There was an agreement that was never signed with us, between us and the Cornell people. So I think it's, it's an important project, and I think it's worthwhile discussing now.
Is she
here?
Still on?
We have time.
She's there. She's there. And I
She's
think-
still here.
She's there. So let her in.
Well, let's do it. Let's get it over with.
Now, a question, Sean Cambridge, were you able to locate this? We had an area marked out that we did a bunch of work on before Martha left. Were you able to locate that in the box?
Oh, Lisa was looking for this box. I was not able to find it. If they have a draft copy, we can certainly work off of that, but no, I don't have anything on this.
Kim, do you still have that draft copy of that we were working on with, you have that? Can you send that over to Sean? We were with Chris.
Yes,
I don't know.
absolutely. I still have that, and I have the coordinates that we had discussed too. And yeah, so I could send that over so everyone could have a fresh look at it. And
because there was a transition. We were pretty much, I think, finished with this, and then there was a transition of the town attorney's office, and things kind of got shuffled around. We thought we had this in this mysterious box.
Okay, well, no problem. I have the most recent version. It had Martha's some markups on it. And I think it was in your court then to see if those were okay. And then I didn't know if we need to go to public notice for the agreement or what. I thought there was something about next steps and
Right.
something along those lines. We were close.
Right, we were very close. Well, if you could get that over to Sean,
Sure.
then I think when we can, then I think we could establish what the next steps are, because it is great to work with you and the whole team. And, we want to see continued success in the collaborative efforts of, what needs to be done here. But obviously we want to tighten it up for our benefit and the public's benefit and your benefit.
And I think we got to educate the public and our board again, because it's been almost 2 years since we've had a discussion about this. I believe it's that long, Scott. So that's why I asked you to come in.
Well, when you take it back through, how many different
attorneys,
assistant town attorneys that we've had for that period of time, it's no wonder that the box is a mystery.
Yeah.
You want to speak about it briefly, and then we'll get the paperwork from you, and then we'll have an official scheduled session. You want to give them a brief overview, Kim?
Sure, that would be great, because I think, time is more of the essence now, because we had received, or we're still waiting for a contract, but we received funding through the CPF funding source of the past round that went by, to really expand our shellfish and habitat restoration efforts, specifically as based out of the Tiana Bayside facility. So we had spoke years ago about establishing, a sanctuary site to be a long-term receiving area for eelgrass plantings, for shellfish plantings, some spat on shell, and really be this, really great area that we could build into, kind of a spawner sanctuary and just a great place to do habitat restoration, eelgrass plantings where it won't be disturbed. So it's back on the table now as part of that project. It's really exciting. We're going to be able to, and this is another thing I'm seeking the board's permission on. Last year, you had given us permission to put out the Flepsy and grow a limited amount of shellfish on site there at Tiana Bayside. So we have that letter of permission, which is great. And given last year, I don't need to go into detail, but as you could imagine, things got a little bit shuffled around. So we didn't even end up getting the Flepsy in the water last year, but we would like to do it this year. So I hope that letter could still be considered valid. I could, send that over to, we could just have a relook at all of this and make sure we're still good to go. Because in addition, we would like to get, formal approval to establish a pilot bay scallop sanctuary nursery area on site as well. So I was down there with the team and with the Parks Department a week or two ago now, trying to look at a spot where we could actually hang some lantern nets off of the floating dock, kind of where we have the spat lines there, and just, trial it out. Part of this funding source, we want to put 250,000 bay scallops into Southampton town waters to, help populations down here, like we're doing up in the Peconic. So as part of that, we would really love for both, a public outreach standpoint, and also to really maximize what we're utilizing the Tiana facility and grounds for, add that scallop sanctuary there too. So we're seeking permission to put out just approximately 20 lantern nets off of the floating dock area for this season, and they would be part of the grow out process of they're still being spawned up at our flagship in Southold, but come down here for a portion of their grow out, see how they're doing, and then eventually be moved out to our long lines in Orient, and then come back to actually be planted in town waters. And that's another thing we'll work to decide where the scallops should go. I know there's places we've seeded in the past with Greg and in partnership with you all. So it would be great to kind of identify some areas in addition to this sanctuary we're hoping to establish that would benefit from receiving some more bay scallops as well. So basically, to sum it up, those are the two kind of more permission things we're seeking. Again, permission to hang those lantern nets this summer and to keep things going with the Flepsy, and also, hopefully establish this receiving area. So starting this year, you know, we could start actually planting in it. We now have funding to help support that happening. And that was the whole idea, that we were hoping to establish the sanctuary in hopes, you know, we would get some funding to support that. And that's exactly what happened. So we're really grateful for the town and for your support in general for all those activities. But the time has finally come that we're ready to go and really expand our efforts within the town. So again, we hope to continue to work to get the necessary permissions lined up and really start scaling this stuff up this year and next year as well. It's a 2-year project. So,
Right. And we purchase a lot of seed from you every year,
Yeah.
correct? And we put it out there.
Absolutely. And this is separate and aside of that too. You know, we want to still continue the enhancement program, you know, through Greg, but this was really a good opportunity to, again, scale up, you know, some of the infrastructure and ability to grow stuff right at Tiana Bayside, and also that big public education and you know, signage project, and also, you know, involving the community and actually planting out some of these, you know, seed shellfish that we make available. So we've done that in the past, and it's a really great opportunity to allow people to actually have a hands-on opportunity to give back to our bays and, you know, seed out these areas. And that Tiana sanctuary site would be terrific, because again, we could just, you know, launch paddleboards and kayaks right off our facility. We could integrate it into our curriculum that we do for youth education and school programs, and it's just a really great opportunity. So it would be good to know that we have, you know, an area right off our facility that we could really use as a hands-on, you know, kind of learning area as well.
The education is so important, you know, for our local community, so that people learn that, you know, to respect our resources and respect our environment. And that's going to pay tremendous dividends moving forward for generations to come. So it's a great collaborative effort that we have had with you. And if you can get that over to Sean, we'll also take a look at that other letter of permission, just to make sure, you know, it's been a little difficult, very difficult, and we'll get it all tightened up.
Sounds great. So yeah, I'll compile all that, and obviously keep everyone posted too on what's happening and community involvement opportunities. And we'd love to see you out there with us too.
Well, one thing I'd really like to say is that it's really critical that we utilize the South Shore bays for growing bay scallops, being that we have this parasite on the Peconic side. Basically, the scallops never get big enough to be harvested. Maybe we can actually make a hybrid scallop that would be less susceptible to these parasites. I know the scallops that we had placed in from Cornell last year had survived very well in our bays. There was a very minimal set of natural stuff in the bay also. But I think separating it from Peconic to the South Shore bays, we can actually increase the population in our bays and maybe give back to the, you know, the state and the Peconic Bay estuary system a stronger, more hardy type of you know, shellfish. That's my goal, is to make them resistant to this parasite.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, art researchers are working on that end too, to, you know, understand more about what's going on, you know, in terms of the population in general. But I think it's, you know, everyone's in agreement that, you know, while we work on the research end, you know, the restoration enhancement end is, you know, very important as well. So it's really, again, exciting that we could scale up efforts in Southampton for this.
Thanks,
Okay.
Kevin.
So we know what the next steps are, right?
Yes, we're good.
Good.
All right. Thank you all so much.
you.
Good to see
Thanks,
you.
Kim.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. So,
I have one more thing, Eric.
okay.
I thought it was going to be on the agenda for work session. Channel Pond. The Four Dune people would like to dredge underneath that bridge, going into the outdoor of the in and out of the bridge on both sides.
Oh,
We had
ours built up right by that small house that was built.
Yeah, I think Billy Mack's on. He might be able to speak more of it because he's working on getting the permit.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Good,
Happy
Billy.
Monday. The Fort Dune Association is interested in improving the water quality in Channel Pond, and one of the direct benefits to dredging would be the water quality. So the suggestion was to re-dredge the narrow inlet that runs under Flying Point Road that feeds into Channel Pond. I remember I was talking to Bill about this, and I think it was done I don't know, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago. But I can't remember exactly. I think it was done when they were constructing the house at the corner there.
Prior to the construction.
Yeah.
It was prior to.
And that's how they got the ability to put the house there, because it was a
Yeah.
deposition site, not a wetlands.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it was like 8 years ago, maybe.
Maybe it was 8 years. Yeah, I have no idea.
Mhm.
But the suggestion is that the Ford Dune Association be willing to, at least kick off the application process, because obviously we'd have to get application approval from you guys, the and Department of State, Department of Environmental Conservation, and likely Army Corps of Engineers. So, and we'd aid to put that application together, and it would probably be a co-applicant. I guess that the trustees would be the actual applicants.
Mhm. Okay.
And then figure out how to actually accomplish the dredging, which
That's the hard part. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that has to be done, but the logistics of it.
Yeah. And the bulkhead that's on the north side is failing in there. So the bulkhead would probably have to be replaced. The bulkhead on the south side has been replaced in the last like 8 or 10 years. So that's in good shape. But the bulkhead on the north side, where the new house is in pretty poor shape. So before anything is done.
That's how they got the dredging permit, Ed. They were supposed to redo the bulkhead, and they're supposed to reclaim the sand. So they reclaimed the sand, but never did the bulkhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we have to look at the
let's
have to look at the bridge to make sure it's strong enough if we dig through there.
Yeah, but you're only going to dig a couple feet, Billy. So you're not really, you're not going to dig 10 feet down. You dig, it's an environmental dredging, less than 3 feet or less at low bay in there, which would allow for circulation.
Oh yeah, I realize that, but you never know. That's a pretty old bridge, you know.
Yeah, I know. That's the last thing we need.
Yeah, but so we want to look at that, you know.
Well, yeah, I was going to walk through the logistics to see what it would take to get that done. And then, if the board wants to kind of go forward with this, we could start the application process and probably figure out a lot of this in the application process. But at least I wanted to gauge the board to see how everybody felt about this.
I think any of these channels that can be opened around the perimeter of Mecox are really important, because when they're, at a low bay and it's necked off to the Mecox, the salinity drops, the water quality is greatly depreciates in there, and it's not a good situation. So keeping these channels, flowing and so you can get the back and forth between Mecox and Channel Pond is really important.
Also, oops, sorry, go ahead.
No,
well,
go
I
ahead.
just want to add, with the perennial state of the high bay, with that channel being shoaled, it creates backup of the groundwater as well, and makes a really high water table, which may be impacting some of the homeowners in Fort Dune.
It never drains out once you lower the bay in. It's like a dike there. It's completely diked off, and that pond stays high. Where when 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when there was a deeper channel, it would drain almost 2 feet more elevation out of the channel pond.
Go crabbing there all the time. Well, let's find out what the question was brought up about that permit. Let's find out. Bill, what were you saying, that it was one of the conditions that they redo the bulkhead?
Yes, and also when we look at the bridge, if the bridge needs to be worked on, that might help with the cost, and also getting the permit with the DEC and Army Corps that the bridge has to be repaired.
So if that bulkhead is failing and the silts and sediments are entering our water column, then we do have possibly some,
they're gonna have backlash.
Yeah.
So will we ask an engineer to look at the bridge, Billy?
I would think so.
Okay.
Well, talk to Highway Department. They might have some recent, in their review of bridges, they might have a recent analysis of, what the condition is.
Right. And I think, like Billy Mack was saying, as we start to go through this process, it's going to unwind itself to more and more. And that's, I think, a good way to go.
But the general sense is that we want to increase the flow in there, so.
Right, so I think if we, Billy gets the general sense, I think as he goes through that, I think it's gonna reveal a tremendous amount.
Okay, you good, Billy?
Yeah, good. So the suggestion would be, I'll put together an application for you guys and all the other agencies, and we'll start pushing this through.
Right, as everybody's working through
You
the
gotta figure out
process.
deposition site too. That's gonna be the biggest, heaviest lift.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I would see, just down, just north of there, that Flying Point beach access where people use to get into the bay, into Mecox Bay.
There's no room there anymore. It's only about maybe 10 feet wide. You're not gonna put much material there.
Really, I figured just sand would help, people as they back their boats in and do all kinds of access to that section of the bay. Otherwise, there could be other boat access areas.
Or put it on the Barrier Beach, right? At Flying Point.
Yeah.
And then it'll wash right out. It's just plain sand.
Yep. Yeah, it should be pretty clean.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, well, we can vet out the deposits sites as well through the process.
Okay.
Well, could you possibly, if you're gonna do it with a small hydraulic dredge, pump it across, isn't there a lot of Phragmites right there on the other side of the road? Could we may possibly put some, make an area in there where we could dewater it?
Maybe. We'd have to look at the shoreline there.
Hey, James, can you bring this up so people know what we're talking about, please? Sorry to interrupt you there, Bill.
Sure can. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Got it.
Yeah, just an aerial shot would be helpful.
Billy, is there a building lot on the west side of the road, just north of the bridge, where we could use for a deposition site on the west side of the road?
Well, yeah, perhaps. Oh, yeah, there's
a very large field there. Yeah. See that?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah, that wouldn't be too far a distance, pump it.
We'd have to obviously get permission.
Mhm.
Well, there's a whole application process we're gonna have to go through, so I think we're gonna spend a lot of time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of questions here, but we can certainly start putting the list together as part of the application.
Hey, James, just real quick, scroll down a little bit. Do you want to see what the lot to the south is on the chart? Oh, it's the parking lot there.
Yeah, that's the parking, which could also be used. That's actually owned by the Ford Dune Association.
Oh, okay.
And rented to the town.
It looks like you have some alongside the parking lot. It looks like you have some form of spoil sites there.
Yeah.
What's that disturbed area there?
This area?
Yeah.
Yes.
It could be
Looks
deer
like
runs.
deer trails or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well,
You could use the parking lot and put an outfall pipe right back into Channel Pond and then just scoop it right off the parking lot and sell it basically.
Right.
Yeah, put a dike and weir system there to drain it. Yeah.
Yeah. You have plenty of room there.
Yeah, because you have a small dredge, which you're probably going to use in there. Portable dredge. There won't be too much volume.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot of sand. It's just, it's in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you have that other large lot there too, as you come around the road. What's that?
I think that's all
private.
Yeah.
Flying Point what? What was it? Was the ownership on it?
LLC.
Oh, separate. Okay.
Hey, Billy Mack,
Yes, sir.
we also have to be careful with this guy's bulkhead when we get the permit. When we go to do it, we want him to sign off of it. So if we cause any damage to his bulkhead,
Yeah.
like what we had trouble down in,
Who owns that now, James? Can you highlight that?
LLC.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the original owner that built the property, but perhaps we could reach out to him.
Mr.
Okay.
Burnett?
Yeah.
That's a few years past. Okay.
All right.
Very good.
So lots
Thank
of,
you. The process.
great. Yeah, we'll start it and we'll figure it out as we go.
Okay. sounds-
Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for bringing it up.
Billy.
Okay, bye. Okay. We good to go into executive session to get out of this meeting and go into that and then break for lunch and then go into the regular session?
I think that would
Yes.
make sense.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Motion that we go into, close this meeting and go into executive session for legal advice on litigation. Make the motion. Got a second?